If you're a guy in your early 20s, buy a Rolex. Go into debt if you have to. This is not satire. You can get a Rolex for only $4,000. Having a nice watch communicates status to women and business relationships, and if you buy it right, it will hold its value if not appreciate. This random tweet on the internet from a few days ago is currently sitting at a little under 30 million views, and it begs the question that now everybody's considering: is 2025 going to be this stupid all year?
That's a lot of nuts!
Welcome back, hyenas, to This Week in Memes, and this week we're talking about my watch. It's a brand new Rolex that I bought for about $4,000 to communicate status to women and also improve my business relationships. You'll notice that I picked up the Rolex Bob's Burgers edition, perpetual day date in a Simpsons yellow color. It's got a turbine. It's got a battery in it, but listen, I'm trying to grow on YouTube by any means necessary. And if that means buying a silly watch, I'm gonna listen to the guys who have made hundreds of dollars, you know? This guy on Twitter keeps going on, by the way. This wasn't like a one-off tweet that just sort of popped up and went viral. This dude made a small thread arguing his point for why anybody in their 20s should be going, at minimum, $4,000 in debt if it means buying a Rolex. The amount of normies saying to just buy Bitcoin or the S&P instead are missing the point. It's about improving status today to help improve earning potential or dating value in the most cost-effective way. Better than buying a goofy Gucci t-shirt on a credit card. If you're buying a watch on a credit card, it's just as goofy. What exactly am I supposed to accomplish after attracting a woman with my fancy watch? Hey, do you want to know something else? I can't afford food anymore. This girl saw my Rolex GMT Master 2 pictured, and now we're getting married. Case closed. Okay, you know what? I take it all back. If it worked for one guy, maybe it'll work for every single person in their 20s ever. My heavily leveraged Rolex was clearly the only reason she chose me. This has to be tongue-in-cheek. It turns out this dude is a real estate guy, and he does real estate, so I don't know what, he plugs his real estate company at the end of this thread, as if anybody who's paying attention to you telling them to go into debt to buy a luxury watch is suddenly in a position where they want to go buy a house. Yeah, I'm gonna call the dude who swindled me out of my money based on a tweet that I believed in. Actually, you know what? That's the perfect customer. I actually have a pretty bad disdain for people who wear Rolexes. If you're a watch guy, obviously you can appreciate their history with making quality dive watches and sports watches and how long they've been in the industry and what have you, but to normies, people who own one watch, it's the equivalent of a Gucci t-shirt. I would have so many people come in with 15-year-old Rolexes when I was working sales in a computer store, just acting like they were the shit, only to ultimately 100% of the time argue with you over whether or not they need to spend the extra $70 to get a slightly better processor. Computer elitism aside, your wristwear costs more than my car. Just splurge for the nicer computer. Not to mention, and you can tell from the meme behind me, but rich people don't even wear Rolexes. Not the classic silver Datejust that is sold all over eBay and is the most replicated by all the people making phony Rolexes. They legitimately wear Casios. When I was in Miami for my honeymoon, I stayed at a resort, the half of which was a condo, and I was drinking at the hotel bar next to somebody who lived there, which, if you don't understand, the condo fee at this place was $20,000 a month. So no doubt in my mind, this dude was a millionaire. He told me later that he developed some sort of software in the early 90s and then sold it to AOL, and that's how he had all this cash. And he told me that he liked my watch. I was wearing this, a Seiko Cocktail Time in a Tiffany blue. I love this watch. It's the only one I own. Do you know what he was wearing? A G-Shock. But let's not harp too much on the notion that buying an expensive watch, if you have no money, is a bad use of the money that you already don't have. This meme's very real. Rich people who have a lot of money, outside of spending it on stuff that you would never be able to afford, generally don't spend their days just giving it away and spending $30,000 on a watch to look rich if they already are rich If you're not rich, will buying a Rolex get you laid? I mean, half of the equation here was business relationships, but the other one was romantic encounters. I haven't done any thorough research into this, but my gut feeling tells me that if you meet a woman who has any idea how much your watch costs by looking at it, run! You're in danger! That is not a world you are ready for. Either they are scoping you out as somebody they can take money from, or they actually know money and you are way out of your league. Naturally, people have caught on to what is essentially engagement bait. Clearly, nobody is under the impression that buying the cheapest 15th hand off Rolex off of eBay is going to be the reason that anybody wants to talk to you. If anything, I can very clearly spot out what the cheapest Rolex on the market is simply by paying attention to who's wearing them at the local college bar. But Twitter has caught on as well, and this meme tweet by this individual has now been replicated by other people to showcase more nuanced and authentic pieces of wealth that you could actually purchase to look like not only somebody with money, but somebody who isn't a cringe Twitter user. If you're a guy in your early 20s, buy a K truck. Go into debt if you have to. This isn't satire. You can get a truck for $4,000. Having a K truck communicates status to women and business relationships, and if you buy it right, it will hold its value, if not appreciate. First of all, importing a microcar from Japan is dope as hell. Secondly, you can legitimately have these things imported to you for like $4,000 or $6,000. And third, K-trucks are cool as shit. Unlike the watch that then provides no other value to you that you can't accomplish by pulling out your phone and looking at what time it is, a K-truck can drive people around. You meet a woman who thinks your K-truck is cool, guess what? You can drive her home. Slowly, and if a woman is into a K-truck, that means she appreciates things that are a little bit smaller than average. I'm just saying. I really like this version of this dude who states that if you're in your early 20s, you need to be buying a Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner watch. Because first of all, that sounds cool as hell. Secondly, I love that the profile of this watch matches that of a Cartier tank, an actual luxury watch that everybody knows the profile of, and I think this is just as cool. And third, the fact that the blue strap matches the blue interior of this dude's Bugatti. I mean, rich people shitposting on people trying to look rich like it's this extra level of dunking on the guy is poetic. If you're a guy in your early 20s, buy a sword. That's good advice. If you have a Rolex and you get into a sword fight, guess what? The other guy's gonna have a sword. If you get into a Rolex fight, I guess you'd be adequately equipped, but again, you bought the cheapest Rolex on the market, so I feel like you still lose. If you get into a knife fight, I would argue you're still at a little bit of a disadvantage. A gunfight, 50-50, I guess. If you're in your early 20s, buy a dual disc. Now that is wristwear I can get behind. Whoever tweeted this clearly has an above average penis. The reality of this tweet is that it's actually making a lot of the same points that we've seen in memes of decades old, particularly the grind culture meme. There's a lot of memes that are completely surrounded around the fact that successful people want to give advice to men in their early 20s. Your circle should consist of people who are talking about nothing but stocks and crypto, NFTs, starting your own business, dropping out of college, becoming an entrepreneur, and all the other things on the checklist that you should be doing if you ever want to make any sort of money, and they're all pretty stupid. If you're in your 20s and your main circle, the people closest to you, aren't spending every waking hour discussing the Atari 7800, huge-assed murder femboys, man, that's specific, pre-2000s TV guide channels, mystery mold, and how Megamind deserved better, then you need to find yourself a new circle of friends, because your network is your net worth. Grind culture is all about maximizing a minimal amount of effort, but you still have to put in a lot of effort because this whole thing is stupid and makes no sense. Let's take a look at one US Navy SEAL who preached the idea that waking up at 2 a.m. every day is the ideal way to start your life as an alpha grind-ready man. Sleep on a hardwood floor with no pillow. Alarm goes off at 1 a.m. Immediately kip up into a standing position and scream, "Let's get it!" Shower with liquid nitrogen. Shave with a large hunting knife. For breakfast, 6 eggshells and 4 banana peels. Waterboard myself to build pain tolerance. Decide to go easy today. 5,000 push-ups, 2,000 pull-ups, ready for the day at 2 a.m. And if you're doing anything less than that, then you're not grinding.
Who do you love the most in the world?
My family.
Every day, like literally once a day, genuinely sit there for 5 minutes and pretend one of them got shot in the face. I'm being dead serious with you. Every single day, I actually sit and truly try to convince myself one of them got shot in the face. That is the biggest thing I do that leads to the biggest happiness I have.
If it isn't obvious, the grind set mentality of these Sigma males is supposed to be a sort of shortcut to feeling a sense of accomplishment that you would imagine you would receive once you've made it in life. And the embodiment of that is buying a cheap Rolex. Nobody wants to own a Rolex just because, like, if it magically appeared. That isn't the point of a Rolex. The point is to be able to comfortably be able to afford such a luxurious timepiece. You must have had some success in your life. The thing it represents is supposed to be security for your children, a home in the mountains, a wife who loves you, or whatever it is that you desire, having accomplished it. Taking the shortcut of buying a cheap secondhand one, even if it's supposed to be a sense of motivation, is not only diminishing the value of what the watch means, but it's also proving that you are stupid. Do you guys want to see my actual Rolex? Here it is. This is my Rolex. This represents 100,000 hyenas strong on this YouTube channel. If I didn't have this plaque, it wouldn't matter, because I still have my community, which you can join by hitting the subscribe button. But if I bought this plaque off of eBay, it would mean just as little as having any sort of secondhand Rolex without the people behind it. And I hope that makes things a little bit more clear for you guys. A big thank you to the patrons scrolling in the back, and thank you for making it to the end of this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.